Good evening and welcome to California Today. I'm Bill Thomas, and here's a preview of some of today's stories. Swimmer Riley Gaines was attacked by transgender activists in San Francisco. This comes as Republicans and White House officials debate over transgender athletes. A state lawmaker is proposing to ban certain chemicals used in candy production. He says the move will protect consumers, but candy manufacturers say all the ingredients they use are approved by the FDA. And a Southern California dermatologist is accused of allegedly poisoning her husband with a liquid drain cleaner. She was indicted by a grand jury earlier this week. Swimmer Riley Gaines was attacked in San Francisco by transgender activists for speaking out about women's sports. And while Republicans advocate for wide bans on transgender athletes, the White House and Supreme Court are pushing back. NTD's Iris Tao now has more from the White House.
A record-setting swimmer says she was ambushed and physically hit by trans activists while giving a speech about protecting women's sports at San Francisco State University. Riley Gaines, a 12-time All-American champion who competed against controversial trans swimmer Leah Thomas, has been an outspoken critic of trans athletes participating in women's sports.
In addition to being forced to give up our awards, our titles, not opportunities. The NCAA forced female swimmers to share a locker room with Thomas.
After Gaines shared the alarming footage of cops hustling her to safety on Thursday night, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy chimed in on Friday and calling it an appalling attack of free speech on a college campus, adding that House Republicans stand with their efforts to protect women's sports. The latest incident comes as a slew of Republican-controlled states around the country are enacting legislation to ban or restrict trans athletes from taking part in school sports. But the White House is pushing back.
This is a dangerous attack on the rights of parents to make the best health care decisions for their own kids.
The Biden administration on Thursday proposed a rule that would change Title IX and forbid schools around the country from enacting outright bans on trans athletes competing in sports. On that same note, the Supreme Court on Thursday also refused to allow West Virginia to ban trans athletes from public schools' female sports teams, while an appeals court considers a challenge to the law. But GOP lawmakers say they won't back down. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy called the White House's latest proposal anti-women, adding the Republicans will not let administration dismantle Title IX. Reporting from the White House, Iris Tao, NTD News.
Easter Sunday is coming up, but things aren't hopping for some candy manufacturers. A California official is proposing to ban certain chemicals in candy which could be harmful to consumers.
Marshmallow Peeps may soon need a makeover if the manufacturer wants to continue selling them in California. The traditional Easter treat, along with several other popular candy brands, including Skittles, Starburst, and Sour Patch Kids, contain chemical additives on a list of ingredients in a ban proposed by state lawmakers. The co-author of the bill, AB 418, California Assemblymember Jesse Gabriel, who represents the San Fernando Valley, says he's not trying to ban the candy. Instead, he says he simply wants the manufacturers to sell the same versions of the candy in the U.S. that they currently offer in Europe.
This is not intended to and absolutely will not result in products coming off the shelves. I know there's been a lot of conversation out there that California is trying to ban Skittles or something like that. That's crazy. I love candy. I love Skittles. I love wild berry Skittles. We are not trying to ban candy. What we have seen, however, though, is that they still produce Skittles in Europe. They still produce Skittles in other parts of the world. What they do is they take out these toxic ingredients and they replace them with something else. And so what we really want is for these companies to make the same minor modifications to their recipes that they've made in Europe and elsewhere here in the United States.
The 5 chemicals on the list, which include red dye number 3 and titanium dioxide, are used to add color and texture to candy. They've already been banned in the European Union after some scientific studies showed the chemicals could increase the risk of cancer, damage the reproductive system, and cause other health problems.
In particular, red 3, a color in everything from candy canes to conversation hearts has been linked to cancer. Really no reason we're using this chemical anymore. FDA has known it's been linked to cancer since the 1980s. And it's just simply long past time for FDA, or if FDA fails to act, states like California, to just get it out of our food. There are plenty of other alternatives that can make candy look delicious to our kids without increasing their risk of getting cancer.
The U.S. Food and Drug Administration permits the use of the listed chemicals if the additives meet specific limits the FDA deems safe for consumers. But some consumer advocates say the FDA's methods of determining what additives are safe are outdated. Gabriel also says he suspects if the candy manufacturers replace the chemicals in question in their products for the California market, they'd likely do the same for the rest of the U.S. as well.
What I think is likely to happen if this law passes here in the state of California and is signed into law, the companies aren't going to have one recipe for California and a different recipe for Oklahoma. So one of the nice byproducts of this is that we'll protect kids all over the United States.
In response to the state bill, the National Confectioners Association stated, "We strongly oppose AB 418 because there is no evidence to support banning the ingredients listed in the bill. The ingredients that would be banned under this proposal have all been approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. If Governor Gavin Newsom signs the bill into law, the chemical additive ban would go into effect in 2025, giving manufacturers time to reformulate their candy recipes for the California market."
A dermatologist in California was indicted earlier this week by an Orange County grand jury. She's being accused of allegedly poisoning her now estranged husband with a liquid drain cleaner.
Last August, 45-year-old Emily Yu, a dermatologist from Mission Vallejo, was arrested by the Irvine police on the suspicion of attempting to poison her now estranged husband. According to the unsealed April 5th indictment, Yu is being charged with 3 counts of poisoning and 1 count of corporal injury on a spouse. The complaint says that 53-year-old Dr. Jack Chen was allegedly poisoned by Yu with a chemical called Drano. The liquid is a common household drainage cleaner made from either sodium hypochlorite, also known as bleach, or sodium hydroxide, which is lye. Chen says that in early April 2022, he began noticing a strange taste in the tea he drinks every day. He soon developed multiple symptoms and was diagnosed with 2 stomach ulcers, gastritis, and esophagitis. A press release by the Orange County District Attorney's Office says that Chen was prompted to install cameras in the family's kitchen following his diagnosis. And on 3 separate occasions, Yu was seen pouring a substance out of a bottle into her husband's tea. Chen turned over the samples of the tea to FBI agents who confirmed it contained a substance consistent with the liquid drain cleaner. If convicted, Yu faces a maximum sentence of 8 years and 8 months in prison. She is scheduled to be arraigned at the Central Justice Center in Santa Ana on April 18th.
We'll take a short break now, but here's a look at what we have for you when we come back. State lawmakers are requesting the state to audit its spending on homelessness. The audit will determine if city and state programs are effectively using the money to tackle homeless-related issues. 2 autonomous vehicle companies want to expand their service to more cities throughout the country. But some city officials are concerned about the cars' driving behaviors. And many California reservoirs have benefited from the torrential rain in recent months. More than half of the major reservoirs are at above average levels. Those stories and more coming up on California Today. Welcome back to California Today. I'm your host, Bill Thomas. Several lawmakers are requesting the state to audit its spending on homelessness. The audit will determine whether money has been being effectively used to tackle homelessness over the past 3 years.
California's Joint Legislative Audit Committee approved a bipartisan audit request to examine the state's homelessness funding. The audit will be directed at the city of San Jose, one other city of the auditor's choosing, as well as the state's structure and efforts to combat homelessness. Senator David Cortese brought forth this audit request, which was backed by Senators Rosalicia Ochoa-Bogue and Roger Nilo, and Assembly members Evan Lowe and Josh Hoover. Cortese initiated the request after touring an encampment at San Jose's Columbus Park. It's considered one of the largest in the Bay Area, with a height of 400 homeless people living there during the pandemic. The audit also requires an evaluation of how the state calculates the cost-effectiveness of its programs. It would also determine how many people received services between fiscal years 2020 to 2021 and 2022 to 23. Cortese's office said adding transparency will help both local and state jurisdictions work together. Cortese said in a statement, "This audit is not to single out any city. It is to single out the fact that human suffering on our streets has persisted far too long." San Jose spent over $28 million of the 2021-2022 budget on homelessness. According to a March report by the United Way, San Jose has the highest number of unhoused youth in the country.
2 robo-taxi companies want to expand their service in more U.S. cities, but some city officials are raising concerns about the car's reported erratic driving behavior.
2 trailblazing taxi services are heading toward uncharted territory as they seek approval to transport passengers throughout one of the most densely populated U.S. cities around the clock. Both Cruise, a subsidiary of General Motors, and Waymo, a spin-off from Google, are looking to transport passengers without a driver.
Here in San Francisco, we're also driving without a human driver in the driver's seat in all of the city, including its densest parts. It was recently announced that we'll also be scaling our operations to Los Angeles, California.
If the companies get the okay before the end of the year, San Francisco would become the first U.S. city with 2 totally driverless services competing against Uber, Lyft, and traditional taxis, all of which still depend on people to control vehicles. But driverless vehicles have left unanswered questions about who would get a citation ticket when there is no driver. And Cruise and Waymo still must navigate around potential roadblocks, including complaints. Their vehicles have been spotted making unexpected traffic clogging stops that threaten to inconvenience other travelers, or worse, block emergency vehicles rushing to a fire or other urgent calls for help.
The unexpected stops are absolutely an issue. What it's more or less telling you is that the vehicles have not quite yet figured out how to operate in tremendously complicated environments.
We do take flow of traffic seriously, and we also take seriously, prioritizing actual safety, of the environment and riders as well. So what I can say is there's layers and layers of safety in depth that has been designed here, and multiple mitigations in place, and we are testing extremely thoroughly.
Cruise has been charging people for driverless rides in less congested parts of San Francisco during nighttime hours since last June. Similarly, Waymo has been giving free driverless rides while waiting for approval to start charging passengers. Their ultimate goal is to make money from robotic drivers that could be safer and less expensive than humans.
It's not exactly clear that based on how much it'll cost per trip, that this is going to be affordable for a range of different people who might be interested in riding these things. It's not exactly clear that these vehicles are going to help us reduce congestion or reduce emissions.
So we still have work to do, but it's improving at a pretty rapid rate. And that's one of the beauties of this kind of technology. It's not just the pickup and drop off experience will get really fine tuned and elegant over time, but also the safety continues to improve and the smoothness continues to improve. So the human likeness, how human like the maneuvers are.
Cruise recently applied for permission to begin testing its robotic vehicles throughout California at speeds of up to 55 miles per hour, 25 miles per hour above the maximum speed for its robo-taxis in San Francisco. Both Cruise and Waymo recently announced their driverless fleets each have covered more than 1 million miles without a major accident.
Over 60% of the state's major reservoirs are now above their historic averages. This is due to the recent parade of storms that brought record rain and snow to the state.
11 of California's 17 major reservoirs are now above their historic averages, following 3 years of drought that drained them to extremely low levels. But they're now sitting at 7% above average, according to the California Department of Water Resources.
So a lot of reservoirs, we had more snowpack in the central and southern part of the Sierra. So all of those reservoirs are releasing into the streams. They are full. They are making releases to accommodate additional snowmelt that will be coming in. Even in the northern part of the state, Lake Oroville, which is a big reservoir, started making releases to allow for incoming inflows and snowmelt over time. So our reservoirs are looking really good.
Lake Lake Oroville, the state's second largest reservoir after Lake Shasta, is about 16% above historic average. Managers are now releasing water from the Oroville Dam spillway.
Well, we know there will be flooding as a result of this snowmelt. There's just too much snowmelt to be accommodated in our rivers and channels and keeping things between levees.
In late 2022, nearly all of California was in drought, labeled either at extreme and exceptional levels. Wells were running dry, farmers were following fields, and cities were restricting residential water usage.
So hydrologically, California is no longer in a drought except for very small portions of the state near the northern part of the state, which just really missed this long line of storms.
Governor Gavin Newsom has not declared the drought over because water shortages still subside near the California-Oregon border and parts of Southern California. According to state data, the snowpack's water content is 236% of its normal average and nearly triple in the Southern Sierra. State officials warn residents not to let the current abundance of water let them revert to wasting water.
Given weather whiplash, we know the return of dry conditions and the intensity of the dry conditions that are likely to return means we have to be using water more efficiently. We have to be adopting conservation as a way of life.
As the weather warms up, water managers prepare for the snowpack to melt and expect flooding in the Sierra foothills and Central Valley.
Now to NTD's Carlos Reyes for an update on sports.
Thank you, Bill. We have a great lineup for you today. This is your California Today Sports Roundup, and I'm Carlos Reyes. Orlando Arcia drove home pinch hitter Eddie Rosario with a 2-out single in the bottom of the 9th inning Thursday night to give Atlanta a 7-6 victory over the San Diego Padres in the Braves' home opener at Truist Park. After a 2-out double to right field off Padres reliever Nabil Crismatt, Rosario easily scored on Arcia's liner to center. The winning run was the 5th the Braves have scored with 2 outs this season. Left-handed reliever AJ Minter pitched a scoreless 9th to earn the win. Crismatt, whose early season ERA is 16.20, took the loss. The teams combined for 14 walks in a game that saw 5 pitchers work for each team. Braves 7, Padres 6. Dustin May delivered a second consecutive strong start, and Los Angeles earned a victory over host Arizona in the opener of a 4-game series in Phoenix. Freddie Freeman hit a home run and JD Martinez hit an RBI double as the Dodgers improved to 3-2 against the Diamondbacks this season. May gave up 1 run on 2 hits over 6 innings with 2 walks and 5 strikeouts. 6 days after he went 7 scoreless innings against Arizona. Josh Rojas had an RBI double for the Diamondbacks, while right-hander Merrill Kelly gave up 4 runs on 6 hits over 5 innings, with 4 walks and 4 strikeouts. Kelly, age 34, recorded his 500th career strikeout in the 4th inning when he fanned former teammate David Peralta. The Los Angeles Dodgers 5, Diamondbacks 2. Michael Conforto, Blake Sable, Mike Yastrzemski, Wilmer Flores, and J.D. Davis homered to boost San Francisco in a rout over host Chicago. The Giants punctuated their power surge, drilling 13 home runs, yes, 13 home runs, to win the Interleague Series 2-1. Jairo Estrada joined Sable, Conforto, and Davis with 3 hit games for San Francisco, which outhit Chicago 20-11. White Sox starter Lane Lynn spaced 8 runs and 9 hits in 4 innings with 3 walks and 5 strikeouts. 4 of the hits Lynn allowed went for extra bases, with 3 going out of the ballpark. Giants 16, White Sox 6. San Jose has yet to earn a road win this season, but the Earthquakes have been unbeaten at home. They will be looking to carry that form onto the road as they face a tough challenge in the Red Bulls, who are known for their high-pressing style of play. San Jose head coach Luchi Gonzalez has emphasized the importance of consistency in the Red Bulls' style of play.
No, I mean, our expectation is that there's consistency in how they're going to play, especially at home. But they have a clear identity in how they want to get pressure on the ball, their intensity, full throttle, high energy, collective, pressing, getting pressure on the ball, jumping lines, and doing it well. You know, they do it really well. We learned that, like you mentioned, in preseason.
Gonzalez also spoke about the Quakes' experience against the Red Bulls in the preseason.
I thought we had moments that we were successful to break it and could have also shown our danger in the attack, but you know, on that day in preseason, Red Bulls got the better of us. So we know how dangerous and effective that their style and their identity is, and we respect that. And we have to be ready for something I would believe is similar, despite any results they or us may have. It's early in the season for any of us, and it's a long season. So we're focused on the next opportunity.
San Jose defender Carlos Acapo also expressed his confidence in the team's progress this season.
Vale, pues,
I think the team's style of play has changed a bit from last year. We've had good feelings about this year so far. We've been really strong at home. It's true we need to earn a win on the road, but we have had a positive start so far. I think our fans are excited. I think Luchi is being important because he has instilled a championship-like mentality. He's helping us compete at a high level to qualify for the MLS playoffs.
The Earthquakes will need to be at their very best to get a result on the road against a tough New York Red Bulls side, who will be looking to bounce back from a 1-0 defeat in their last game against Atlanta United. This promises to be an exciting matchup, taking place in the Red Bull Arena on Saturday, April 8th at 4:30 p.m. in New Jersey. That is it for today's roundup. Thank you for watching. I'm Carlos Reyes.
That's all we've got for you tonight, and would like you to join us again on California Today every weekday right here at 8:30 p.m. Also, make sure to check out our broadcasts on our California Today webpage, and you can find that easily at ntd.com/California-Today. You can also find all of our latest clips there, ready to share with friends and family. And if you could, please send us a message on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, or through our email. That's california.today@ntd.com. I'm Bill Thomas, and for all of us here in the newsroom, have an incredible weekend.